You'll have to excuse my lack of uploads over the last couple of days. I've had the worst lurgy I've had in years, honestly. And I lost my voice, which was a blessing for many of you, I'm sure. But anyway, I'm back today to cover as much of the transfer deadline day as I can. Of course, it's not just transfer deadline day, is it? It's match day as well, which sort of, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a hindrance, really, as far as West Ham, I guess, and Luton are concerned. I don't know which big brain in the Premier League decided to put a match on today when really you want to be getting business done. I know David Moyes isn't the guy closing the deals at the moment, but you know, we are looking at a number of strikers, as I understand it, and a number of midfielders as well, apparently, and there might be something being done at left back, and I just wonder if there's a choice between 2 or 3. And I think the transfer committee has worked well. If there's a choice between 2 or 3, then you'd imagine they're going to want to let the manager know, oh, you know, okay, it's him or him. Which one do you think we should go for? Then David Moyes is not going to be available to do that. So, hey, I just think it's a little bit of a hindrance. Tim Steidten himself, of course, has travelled back from Brazil. He went to Brazil and, he came back empty-handed, really. I think there's a suggestion that he's found a couple of players who might be useful in the future, but none for now. It hasn't surprised me massively. I was never totally sold. Well, first of all, I didn't believe he was over there. It turns out he was. But I was never particularly sold that we were going to go over to Brazil, sign somebody, and then they come back over and they end up playing in David Moyes' first team. I just can't see it, really. I really can't see it. And it's not that David Moyes won't utilise people from other leagues. You know, I think he'll play Kudus. I'm not sure he'll start today particularly, but he's already shown he's going to play Alvarez. I just think somebody coming over from Brazil, no experience of any of the European leagues. I just don't think it's going to happen at all. So, no real surprise there. Now, we pulled out the race for anybody in Brazil, which puts us, in terms of the strikers, Ekitike at Paris Saint-Germain. That looks like that may well happen. I think there might be some business today, actually. The other link that I've heard today is Kylian Iheanacho, of course, was Man City striker. We were linked to him ages ago. Do you remember? Before he went to Leicester for 25 million. Obviously, went to Leicester. For me, it's not somebody... he's really streaky, this player. He's had a very, very streaky career. So for me, I don't think that this is somebody that would do that well at West Ham, if I'm honest. But hey, maybe you think differently. I'm not sure we are actually going to be into him, but I do wonder if it's going to go so late into the transfer window that we will end up just maybe getting somebody we don't actually want. It looks like we're definitely keeping Mikel Antonio, though. That's a really, really good thing there. I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to keep this form up for the rest of the season, so we are going to need somebody else, but that's really good news. The other thing is, obviously, Danny Ings has said he doesn't want to leave. It was offered the opportunity to speak to Everton. He wants to stay at West Ham and fight for his place. Fair play. Do you know what? He's actually earned that right. It was us that signed him. He decided to come. It shows that he doesn't regret it. I do wonder if he'll be able to get a place in the starting lineup. I suspect he won't. But you know what? If we've signed him, we've shown that sort of faith in him. We've asked him to move himself and his family down from the Midlands to come and live in London, and he was saying, actually, I want to give it a good go. Then fair enough, who are we to say otherwise? Right, we've got a couple of other things. Number one, Filip Kostic and, of course, Ian Mutson. Before we get to them, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, which you can download by clicking that link underneath the screen here or using that QR code. I haven't embedded it yet. It's going to be up there somewhere. The OneFootball app's your one-stop shop for all your West Ham footballing needs. It's not a West Ham app, but you can turn it into a West Ham app because when you download it, it asks you which teams you want to follow. Just click West Ham and it will go around and get you all the latest West Ham news from all the websites across the internet and the newspapers as well. Now, the best of all, it really comes into its own on match day today. So it's going to have all the transfer gossip for transfer deadline day. Plus, it's also going to have the starting lineups an hour before kickoff, any injury news, suspensions. It'll be letting you know that Thomas Souček's unavailable. Hey, you don't need to know it now, I just told you. But it gives you everything you need to know. It's your one-stop shop for all your West Ham footballing needs. Click the link below. Don't even come from Hammers Chat. Best of all, it's free. Okay, so the Ian Mutson one. Now, of course, he is the left-back for Chelsea. Now, we thought he was going to be Chelsea's third-choice left-back, which meant we might have had a chance of getting him. then we thought, hold on a second, he might be Chelsea's second choice left back, in which case we wouldn't get him. The reason was because Cucurella was meant to be going to Man United. That deal has fallen through, so now he's possibly back being Chelsea's third choice left back. Still, with me, it gets more complicated. However, West Ham might be looking to bring in Cucurella as well. Can't see it myself. I cannot see that player playing under David Moyes for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's the hair. I don't know. I just couldn't see him playing under David Moyes. Ian Martson, though, I think this is somebody that could really thrive at West Ham. I don't know if he'd be second behind Emerson or how it would work out. But Chelsea are not going to be in a situation where they can continue to spend the way they have. Of course, they've just agreed to, I don't know if the transfer's gone through yet, but Cole Palmer from Manchester City certainly had a medical there yesterday. They're going to need to offload a few players as well, and it may well be that Conor Gallagher goes to Tottenham. Don't know if you've heard that rumour. And can they afford to keep three left backs? I'm not so sure. So there may be something doing there. That's really interesting. I do think something's going to happen today. I really do. I hope so as well. But don't be surprised if whatever happens actually does transpire when we're watching the game against Luton, which is obviously, big deal. That, for me, the most important thing that happens today's the game against Luton, because you get 3 points. We're back up at the top, albeit, probably for a short period of time. But it would mark a really good start to the season for us. The other player, and I was surprised to see this one pop up again, was Filip Kostic. Of course, you remember him. He tore us apart, really, didn't he, when he played for Frankfurt? And then we chased him. David Moyes really wanted this player. In the end, he went to Juventus. Hasn't really worked out for him at Juventus. That being said, you look at his highlight reel from Juventus from last season. He scored some goals. He got some good assists. He played exactly like Filip Kostic played, didn't he? But this season, he's not featured at all. They've got other options there. So he's a real favourite of David Moyes. He is top quality. I think if we signed this player, then with him and James Ward-Prowse, we would just be absolutely deadly from set plays, and the ammunition that we would have would be unbelievable. Of course, he can really curl a ball in from wide positions, from open play as well, Kostic. It's a bit like David Beckham. He could do it from very, very deep as well. Doesn't always need to beat his man. I think my one concern with him as a player is I don't know where he would fit within our team. I don't think he's defensively good enough to play at left back. And I don't think he's quick enough to play at left wing. But I might be wrong about that. I may well be wrong. Also, that begs the question, what's he going to do with Kudus if he were to go and get Kostic? So that's an interesting one. The one position where a lot of people have suggested in the past that he might well excel is left wing back. But then that begs the question, what are we going to do in terms of playing three at the back? So that one's going to be really interesting. I think it would be difficult for Moyes to play three at the back at the moment, because there'd be a whole case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And at the moment, it ain't broke. If his defensive system is working really, really well. So I don't know. For that reason, I do find the link not completely unbelievable, because the big boys were reporting it yesterday. Dharma Chef was, I think Fabrizio Romano was. They were all reporting on it yesterday. I was clicking on my phone from me. I was going to say me sick bed. It felt more like my deathbed, quite frankly. So it seemed like there was genuine interest from West Ham. But yeah, I do find that one quite interesting. What is definitely more of a certainty is Jesse Lingard signing. I think it's fair to say that is going to happen now. There's no big hurry on that. It has to be said, there's no big hurry, because we don't have to get that done transfer deadline day. The rumours that I've heard is that the deal is going to be done so as he's registered in time for the Man City game, which of course leaves loads and loads of time. So no big hurry there. Wouldn't surprise me if that's not done. No Kostic, but we signed Jesse Lingard. I know that they're different players, they play in different positions and whatnot. Left back, not so sure. I think that's an easy one to avoid. I'd like to get Martson, but it's an easy one to avoid. We do have cover there in Aaron Cresswell. Ben Johnson can, of course, play as cover at both fullbacks. The striker, if we do any business today, I wouldn't be surprised if the striker is the one, but I do think it's really important we don't work our way so far down the list and get somebody we don't use. I think that's really important that David Moyes is going to use who we get, because you already feel that there's strikers at the club who David Moyes, like Danny Ings, who David Moyes isn't going to use there at all. I do wonder if he's going to turn Kostic into a striker. Hey, we're going to find out a lot more come the end of today. I'll be back possibly later on with another transfer update in case anything's happening. And of course, I'll catch you all later on because the game is later on tonight. First Premier League game of the weekend. And I think it's Luton's first Premier League game at a revamped Kenilworth Road. So I'll catch up with you later today.